Hi, Computer Science 1 class. It's Mrs. Miskin. I'm going to go over some of our earlier lessons in code.org, starting with lesson 18. So what I'm going to do is share my screen and go through every step of the lesson. If you follow along and do these with me, you'll get them just right. And then email me if you haven't gotten them finished, or if I've marked them down because it wasn't finished, then I can update the grade and PowerSchool. Remember, it's not automatic. Okay, lesson 18 is on functions. This is something that we covered right before the closure started in March, so it might be a little bit of a trickier topic, little concept to get, but a function is when you create your piece of code somewhere and then you're able to call it over and over and over again without writing those same steps. Kind of like when we loop something because we can see a pattern. Now this one is functions with artist, and you've already had some function lessons previous to this. I believe 16 and 17 are on functions also. So with 18, we're just going to go through every single screen. So number 1, what will happen when you press run? Let's look at what the code says. When run, draw a square. This is calling the function. And I'm just going to highlight right there. Okay, so draw a square calls the function. So just that block right there. Then it says jump backward and draw a square again. So how many times is it going to draw a square? 2. Okay. And then it jumps backward by 175 pixels. Now let's look in the draw a square function and repeat 4 times. This looks familiar. This is how we draw a square, right? We move forward by 100 pixels and then turn right, and we do that 4 times. So we're moving forward by 100. In between, we're jumping back by 175. So let's look at our options here for what happens when we hit run. A, B, C, or D. A, nothing. The function is not called in the program. We know that it is, and it's called 2 times. Okay, B, the artist will draw a single square. Okay, so we know that's not right because we know it's going to draw 2 squares. C, the artist will draw 2 squares that overlap. Okay, if you jump back by 175, but you only move forward by 100, they won't overlap. So what option does that leave us with? D. Okay, so when I hit run, great. Okay, it's called 2 times with a jump in between. Let's go on to number 2. Okay, so here's just some hints. When this green block runs, all of the code in the function will run. So that's the block that calls a function. Okay, draw a square. We've done this one before. This was the same function that was just in the last lesson. What should the artist do after drawing the first square? So over here, we know that it needs to draw 1 square, and it'll end up right back here. So now we need to move forward, don't we, and draw another square. So let's look here. In our instructions, the squares are 75 pixels apart. So if we move forward, how many? Let's try 75 and see if that gets us in the right spot. Okay, then we want to call the function again. So now we go in our blocks, our toolbox, functions, and draw a square. Let's see what happens. Okay, I didn't do it right. I didn't move forward enough. Okay, because I only moved forward 75 pixels. There's 75 in between, but each square is 100 pixels wide. So let's change that to 175. Hey, all right, so you see where I'm going with these? Okay, let's go on to screen number 3. Build a function that will create this star. Each arm of the star is 25 pixels long. You need to turn 45 degrees to get 8 arms. It's okay to go forward and backward over the same arm. Okay, so we've got some hints in here. Let's look at our function, draw a star. Each arm of the star is 25 pixels long. Okay, so that tells us how far we need to move. Actions, move forward by 25 pixels. Okay, you need to turn 45 degrees to get 8 arms. So we need to turn. And we'll leave it at right just for now. Okay, it's easy to go forward, or it's okay to go forward and backward over the same arm. So let's look at this little diagram here. If we start in the center and we move 25 pixels one way, and then we turn, that's not quite going to work, is it? We might need to move backward and then turn. But let's give this a try just to see what happens when we run. Okay, so we turned, but we didn't do anything else. Okay. Let's do one other thing. We need to get 8 arms. So we repeat 8 times. Grab a loop. Okay, so now let's see what happens. That gives us a big polygon there. So we do need to move backwards after we move forward. And we can just change that. So let's try this one. Okay. All right, number 4. When is drawing 3 stars harder than drawing 4? When you also have to jump over the moon. Now, this looks familiar. Didn't we just do this step? Okay, so you can go back to number 3 if you need to. But we know that we're moving forward, and then we know that we're moving backward, and then we're turning, and we're going to repeat that 8 times. Okay, so let's see if that draws 1 square. Oh, we haven't called it yet after 1 run. Let's grab that out. Okay, so we know that that draws one star. Okay, now we need to jump over the moon, draw another one, jump another distance to that 3rd star. So let's look in our instructions and see what we're going to need to do for that. The jump between the 1st and 2nd star is 200 pixels. So we know if we come in here, we're going to jump forward by 200 pixels. Okay, and then we're going to call that star again. Draw a star function. Let's see where that gets us to. Okay, so now we've got the 1st and the 2nd one. We need to jump to the 3rd. So let's grab another jump. And the distance between the 2nd and the 3rd is 100 pixels. So we've got that. And then we're going to call our 3rd function, or call our function a 3rd time. Okay, so we have one function here that draws the star, but we use it 3 different times. Okay, but we don't have to write that code 3 different times. Okay, let's try it. Okay, awesome. Let's go on to the next, number 5. Okay, same concept as the last one. We have the same shape, and then we're going to have that repeated over and over again. We're going to jump in between. Okay, create a draw a window. Okay, so let's break down what the window is made up of. There are 4 squares in the window. So we know how to make 1 square, really easy. Let's go to actually let's do loops first, because we're going to repeat 4 times, then move forward and turn. Okay, and let's look and see. Each window is made up of 4 25 pixel squares. So we want to move forward by 25 pixels. Okay, now this is going to make 1 square, but let's just see what it does right here. Oh, I didn't call a function. Okay. Okay, so it drew 1 square in the window. but we need to draw 4. So we're going to have another repeat in our function. And then what do we do in between? Because if we just repeat that 4 times, it's just going to draw it in the same position. Let's do a turn in between. In between the loops right there. We'll see if right works. We might have to change it to left, but let's give it a try. Okay, perfect. We've got one window. So our draw a window function is complete. Now we need to get the jumps and the steps in. So we're calling one draw a window function. In our instructions, the top windows are a 100 pixel jump away from each other. So we know that we're going to do that a couple of times. So let's go to actions. We're going to jump forward. And then we're going to draw a window again for the second window. Then we're going to jump. And draw a window again. Okay, let's see where that gets us to. Okay, now let's look at where our artist is pointing to. It's pointing this direction, but we're going to need to turn and jump down here so that we can draw this window right here. Okay, so let's look. The bottom windows are a 150 pixel jump below the top set. Okay, so we know that we're going to need to turn and then jump 150 pixels this time. Okay, and then we're going to draw a window again. Let's go to that point and see if we got it right. Okay, all right, our artist now is pointing down. So we're going to need to turn in order to get to this last window. So let's turn. And I think we're going to need to turn left. I'm going to run it just to see. Maybe it's right. Oh, so now my artist is pointing this way. So we do need to turn right. Let's check it. Okay, perfect. Now my artist is pointing this way, and I know that the top windows are a 100 pixel jump away from each other. So from here to here to here is 200 pixels, okay? Because we don't have a window here in the middle, that's where the door is. Let's jump. $200. And we'll call that function one more time for the last window. Hey, let's go on to number 6. Draw a square. Start by creating a function for the square. Well, that's easy. We've just done that, haven't we? So we need to loop and our move forward and a turn. Okay, and does it tell us in our instructions? Nope. I don't think it's the 100 pixels. Let's go to 25. That's the size of the other ones, but we'll just see. Maybe it is 100. Nope, I'm going the wrong direction too. So we want to move by 100. And let's turn left. Nope, not that either. Let's try 50. Okay. See, sometimes it's just trial and error. Even Mrs. Miskin doesn't get it right every single time, first time. Okay, now number 7, call the draw a square function from inside your draw a line of squares. So here's our draw a square function that we just had in the last screen. Now we want to draw a line of squares and then just call that function. So we're going to put a function inside of another function. Okay, so to draw a line of squares, we first draw one square. And then we're going to have to jump, aren't we? The squares are 50 pixels apart. So jump by 50. And then we draw another square. And then we're going to need to jump again. And we'll see if I got it right. And draw one last square to get the third. Let's see. Nope, I didn't jump far enough. They are 50 pixels apart, but the square itself is also 50 pixels. So we're going to go 100 and 100. Okay. Number 8. Okay, we just saw this pattern right here, didn't we? Draw a line of squares. And this one's using a repeat 3 times, okay? Could I have done that in the other one? Probably. Okay, so draw a line of squares. We're going to grab that function. Let's see where that gets us to. Okay, so right here when we end, our artist is pointing this way, but we need to turn so that the artist is pointing down. Okay, let's see if that's the right one. Okay, now it's pointing down. Can we draw another line of squares or do we need to turn again? Let's try drawing the line of squares and we'll just see. Oh, nope, I'm not going the right direction. I need to go this way to draw. So I'm going to need to turn one more time in between. Okay, and let's see if this is the right one. Okay. Use everything you've learned so far to recreate this design. Okay, so we know there's 3 squares right here, and there's 1, 2, 3 squares down below. Okay, so let's go back to the very basic, draw 1 square. So we'll create a function called draw a square. And we know these actions now. We know we need to move forward by 50 pixels. And repeat that. And turn. Okay, so if we call draw a square, oh, I'm turning the wrong direction. Let's turn left. Okay, so I got 1 done. Now to draw a line of squares, I'm going to have to move or jump in between. So our function can now become draw a line of squares. If we grab a repeat, and how many squares? We've got 3. And we're going to jump in between. Okay, let's see what this does. Okay, so we've got 3 squares on the top. Now, when we did this the last time, we had to turn 2 times and then draw, I'm going to change this to say draw a line of squares actually. And you see how it updates where I called it? Okay, right here now it says draw a line of squares. Okay, so we turn and then we draw a line of squares again. Let's see if that gets us the first 2. Okay, and where's our artist pointing? Not the right direction to get down here. So we're going to need to turn again. Let's see, are we turning right? Let's try it. Maybe we want to turn left here. Okay, that's better. Now it's at least pointing in the right direction. But we need to jump down to this point right here so that we can start forward. So let's jump. And then we're going to take another turn. And let's see if right is the right way, or we can change it to left if it doesn't work. Let's give it a try. Okay, yep, not turned the right way. Let's turn left and see if now we're facing the right way. Okay, I think so. Let's draw a line of squares again. And now hopefully you've seen this pattern here. Look, we do this part, then we do this one, then we do this one. Can we loop this instead? I think so. Let's see if we can repeat 3 times and go through it. Hey. Nice. Hopefully you're still with me and these are making sense. Okay, challenge puzzles. We can do it. Create this image using the limited blocks provided. Each triangle has sides of 50 pixels. So let's start there. We'll create a function and we'll call this line of triangles. Okay, we know how to make a triangle, don't we? Let's grab our loop first, triangle. We repeat 3 times because it's 3-sided. And then we move forward by 50 pixels. That's the size. And then we're going to turn. What's the angle that we turn for a triangle? 60. Let's give it a try and see. Whoops, I forgot to call my function again. Nope, it's not 60. How about 120 instead? You guys probably already knew that. Okay, so that gives us 1 triangle. How many triangles are in a row? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to come over here and loop this 4 times. Let's see if that gives us the whole row though. Don't we need to move in between? I think we probably do. Can't move, we're going to have to jump. Okay, let's give that a try and see if we get a whole line. Jump too far. Let's change that to 50 pixels. Hey, I've got 1 row down. All right, so now to draw a diamond, this is a diamond shape, not a square, you will need to alternate between turning 60 degrees and 120 degrees. Okay, so now after we draw 1, we're going to turn right, I think right. Okay, alternate between 60 and 120. So let's try 60 first. This angle right here looks very similar to this one. So let's give that a try. And then we'll draw another line of triangles. Okay, now we're going to turn 120. And draw a line of triangles. Okay, we've got almost. Now we need to turn right again by 60. And grab our line of triangles. Okay. Hey, see, that wasn't as challenging as you thought it would be. We just have to break it down into smaller steps. Okay, 11. Okay, now we're going to use hexagons. We can do this. We just did this with triangles. Okay, so let's grab a function. And we're going to call this line of hexagons. Before I forget, again, I'm going to grab out that function and call it after when run. Okay, to make each hexagon, repeat the side 6 times, turning 60 degrees. Okay, so we're going to grab a loop first, repeat 6 times. And the sides are 25 pixels. It tells us that in the instructions. So we're going to move forward by 25 and turn 60 degrees in between. Okay, let's see if that makes one hexagon correctly first. Okay, that looks right. But now we need to do a whole line of them, and there are 8 on a side. So we will go in and loop. We'll repeat this 8 times. Okay, and just like the others, we have to do something in between so that it doesn't just draw it in the same spot over and over again. So we can't use any move forward, so we'll use a jump forward. Okay, and I think we learned our lesson last time. We want to move forward, not 100 pixels. Let's try 25 and see if that's enough. It might not be far enough. Let's check. Okay, that gets us down one line. Now we have a diamond shape like we did in the last one with triangles. We need to alternate between turning 60 degrees and 120 degrees. So we know how to do this. This is a pattern we've already set up. So we're going to turn by 60 and grab another line. We're going to turn by 120 and draw another line. Let's see where that gets us to. Okay, so we're on the right track. We just need one more turn, one more line. And the pattern is 60. And another line of hexagons. Okay. Just a couple more. Number 12. Okay, this one just wants us to answer. It's already got the code in here. What will happen when you press run? Let's look through the code. When run, repeat 4 times, draw a polygon, and then turn right. Okay, so it's calling the draw polygon function right here. We have 2 functions that are drawn out though, but it's only calling draw polygon in one run. So this is a trick question. Okay, so draw polygon says repeat 4 times, move forward and turn right. That sounds like a square. So now we're going to draw a polygon, so draw a square and then turn right, and it'll repeat that 4 times. Okay, do we think that it's going to create that? So it's going to draw 4 squares. How many squares are in this puzzle? Way more than 4. But that looks kind of familiar on one of the other screens that we did that kind of drew a square and then turned and drew another square and turned and drew another square. See where I'm going with this? Let's look at the question. The artist will solve the puzzle correctly. We know that it's not going to because it's only going to draw 4 squares and not that many. The artist will draw 4 squares in a window pattern. The artist will draw only 1 line of squares. We know it can't draw one whole line because there's more than 4 squares in the line. The artist will draw 4 squares on top of one another. It would if we didn't have that turn. So I think the logical choice now is the window pattern. Let's give it a try. Sure did. Okay. Last one for number 18. Use what you've learned to make whatever you want. Okay, so there's a function to draw a hexagon. There's a function to draw a line of hexagons. Staggered squares, draw a line of squares, and draw 1 square. Okay, I'm going to let you do this one because this is your creativity, all right? You can see workspace, infinity blocks. You can use any of these functions, or you can create your own and then put them all in one run, okay? So go ahead and do that one on your own, and whatever you come up with will be awesome. Okay, thank you. Hopefully this has helped you out get through number 18. There will be other videos for further lessons too. So hopefully this has helped. If you still have questions on anything, please let me know. I can set up a Zoom call or try to answer your questions through email. Thank you.